Hey guys, welcome to a new Blu-ray collection update video. As I said on my channel update video, I wanted to make a couple of videos to showcase what I've bought over the past year and a half, and I felt that an easier way to talk about it would be to highlight the different labels and the films within those labels that I've bought. So today's video is just going to be based on the Arrow Video titles that I've picked up, standard edition, steelbooks, collections, and then the limited collection editions that I've picked up over the past year and a half. So we'll start off with the normal editions, and for some of the films that I've seen I might talk a bit about the film as well. We'll start off with their version of Audition. This is an absolutely tremendous Japanese people call it a horror film, and it is quite horrific at times, but I see it more of like a romantic drama that kind of spirals out of control into a more horrific kind of setting. And the performances here are great. The transfer on this disc is absolutely brilliant. Arrow have done a very good job on it. The one thing that I will say though is the film is quite grainy. That's very noticeable in this transfer, but other than that, you know, it's absolutely brilliant. Some of the special features here are really interesting. Some, you know, commentary by a biographer, which was interesting to listen to whilst rewatching the film. And there's a couple of interviews on the disc as well, which is great. Highly recommend it to anyone interested in Japanese cinema and J-horror. If you've not watched any Takashi Miike films before, I'd say this is probably the best one to start with. It's a really well made, precise insight into his kind of weird world of Japanese J-horror, and it's just brilliant, so I highly recommend it. Next up, a release I haven't watched yet, and this goes part and parcel with some of the other box sets that I picked up in the last update. This is Seien Suzuki's Detective Bureau 2 to 3, Go to Hell Bastards. I've not seen the film, but it's going to be part of the Suzuki set or collection. I own a lot of the Seien Suzuki films that Arrow have released now, you know, Branded to Kill and all the other ones as well, and they're always interesting to dip into every once in a while, so I'm looking forward to checking this one out. Next up, we've got an interesting slasher film. This is The Burning. It's really fun. I don't really know what I was expecting with this release. Special effects by Tom Savini. It's not a unique take on the kind of slasher genre. You know, if you've seen Friday the 13th, you can expect a killer walking around and then killing innocent high school kind of people. I really enjoyed the film. I thought it was a great little slasher film. Nothing special, you know, it's not an amazing film, but it's a lot of fun to watch, and some of the special effects are really well put together, and I'd recommend this to anyone interested in slasher films. There's loads of really good special features on this as well, which I checked out after watching the film because I liked it so much. So yeah, if you're into your slasher films, check it out, really good. This title is potentially one of the worst films I own. The only reason I bought it is because it's part of the Arrow Video line, and this is Satan's Blade. I do not recommend this to anyone. I didn't know what the film was about, but kind of picked it up purely because it was going to be based for Arrow. It's not good. It feels like a very low budget kind of student film, and I know that it is a very low budget slasher film, but it doesn't really excuse it from being as bad as it is. I put it on, and within the first 25 minutes I wanted to turn it off because it's just really... The production design and the production of the actual film itself is not great. I kind of see that this might be like a cult favourite, you know, but it's just a really not well made film. I said that terribly. It's not a very good made... It's really not a good film, and I do not recommend it. Next up, a film I haven't seen, Richard Linklater's Waking Life. I'm not familiar with many of Linklater's films. I haven't seen this yet, and the only one that I have actually seen is Boyhood, and I wasn't a massive fan of that, which is a controversial opinion, I know, but I did have quite a few issues with the film. So hopefully this is an interesting one to kind of dive into and explore some of his other work. And Arrow have put together a really nice edition here with a bunch of short films. Yeah, I'm looking forward to checking it out, and hopefully it's a Linklater that I'll actually quite enjoy. Next up, a kind of weird crime gangster duo film thing called The Boondock Saints. Watched this the other day. It's kind of enjoyable. It's not amazing, but it's not terrible, you know. Willem Dafoe gives a really great performance in it. When I say great, it's like hammy and cheesy, but kind of it fits the mood of the film that you're watching, for sure. I probably will rewatch it in the future, but I kind of had quite a lot of fun with it. You know, it kind of takes the piss out of the kind of classic gangster film tropes, and I thought it was kind of fun, so yeah, it's not a bad film. Next up, a couple of Brian De Palma films. I picked up Raising Cain, and I've watched this. This is the first time I've seen this. De Palma's a filmmaker that I'm quite interested in because his development of style is really interesting. The way that he kind of develops Hitchcockian The way that he develops a kind of Hitchcockian narrative throughout his films, I find really interesting. Raising Cain I don't think is based much on any Hitchcock, but there are some really interesting moments in this film. Really good performances by John Lithgow, and I thought it was a really fun kind of mystery film, and the stylization that De Palma brings to it is also very interesting to watch. There's a really nice long take. I know De Palma's a fan of doing single take shots, and the one in this film kind of caught me off guard, and I only realised it was a single take towards the end of the shot, and then rewinded it and then rewatched that single take just to see how he's kind of executed it, because it was a very challenging shot, and he executes it brilliantly. Really good, kind of enjoyable film, and I'd recommend this release as well. It's really good. Next up, another De Palma film. I've not seen it. This is The Phantom of the Paradise. Picked it up because it's a De Palma film, and I've just not gotten around to watching it yet. I've got a copy of Society. This was the first time that I saw this film. I thought it was an absolute blast. Well, when I say that, the first 2/3 of the film are just kind of okay. It's a fairly low budget B-movie kind of film, and you can really feel that come through. One of the things I will say though is that the ending more than makes up for it. The ending of this film is absolutely mental, and in the best possible way. If you're into your body horror or David Cronenberg films, I highly recommend checking out Society. And I'm not going to spoil what happens at the end, but it is really weird and excellently made, and it really made me kind of, I kind of sat there in disgust, but also really enjoying how far it had gone. Which sounds weird, but the film's kind of fun. I'd recommend this release as well. Next up, an actual David Cronenberg film, Shivers. I'm yet to see it. I've sat through the first half an hour of it several times with the intention of carrying on watching it, but just haven't gotten around to actually finishing it. Obviously, when I rewatch it, I will go from the start again. Next up is the David Cronenberg short film collection. Picked this up in one of the Arrow sale deals. I think it was buy one get one free on the Arrow titles. I already own Videodrome, and I wanted to pick up the individual release of the short films because they're not on the standard edition of the Videodrome release. These films aren't great, I will say that now, but it's really interesting to see the development that Cronenberg has from his early filmmaking, you know, kind of not student films, but very short films, and how he uses that style and develops it in his future career as well, which is why I bought this. So for that purpose, it kind of fits it. If you're into exploring different directors' progressions throughout their career, then this is an interesting one to watch. So we'll move on to the Steelbooks that I've picked up. I picked up two because I found them fairly cheap in some of the Arrow sales. The first one is Wes Craven's The Hills Have Eyes. This was the first time that I saw this film. It's kind of good, you know, it's fairly low budget. Wes Craven's an interesting filmmaker for me. You know, The Last House on the Left, I think I made a couple of comments about that in my last update video with Arrow's excellent collection. And this is kind of like a continuation of his style. He's developing different kind of techniques for kind of antagonizing the villains within his work, and it's a kind of enjoyable classic horror film. It's not amazing, it's not my favorite horror film, and it didn't really scare me much, but you know, the tension's there and it's kind of fun. So yeah, it's a classic and it fits within the rest of the collection as well. Next up is another Steelbook, and this is the Next up is another Steelbook release. This is Takashi Miike's Blade of the Immortal. Picked this up as well in the Arrow sale. Very cheap. It's quite a nice Steelbook. I've yet to see it, but I'm kind of tempted to check it out soon. I'm a fan of Takashi Miike's work, so I'm hoping this is really fun. Right, moving on. We'll go to the kind of limited box sets or collections. I don't know if collections is the correct term, but the first one that I'll show is Takashi Miike's Shinjuku The first one that I've got here is the Black Society trilogy by Takashi Miike. I've seen Shinjuku Triad Society. It's pretty interesting. You know, this is another collection of his work that I want to explore, and it's always nice to just have more Takashi Miike on Blu-ray. Next up is a collection of Brian De Palma films. These are De Niro and De Palma, the early films collection, which comes with The Wedding Party, Greetings, and Hi Mum. I've not seen any of these films. I picked up this set because I've been exploring De Palma recently and thought that this would go well with the rest of the Arrow releases as well. I'm not wrong in that regard. One thing that did annoy me though is that there are booklets within this release, but they are within the individual Blu-ray cases. As you can see, there is no actual book within the release. There's no like printed book or hardback book, which is quite annoying because I quite like that in my box sets. So it's a bit annoying, but I haven't checked out any of these films, but it's interesting to see where De Palma and De Niro developed their career from the origins. I don't know if what I just said made sense, but you know what I mean. Next up, a collection of films I haven't dipped into yet. This is the Outlaw Gangster VIP set. It comes with 6 films, all surrounding the same kind of ideas and I think the same characters. I'm looking forward to checking it out at some point, but this is another Japanese kind of crime flick, so yeah, it should be fun. Next up, a very limited release that I've managed to pick up. It also relates to one of the other editions that I showed earlier. This is the David Cronenberg Videodrome Arrow Video Limited Collector's Edition set. This is still in the shrink wrap. I'm not going to open it for collector's purposes, but it's a really nice edition. Comes with the film, all the special features that are on the standard version. I already owned the standard version, I just saw this come up and I had the opportunity to get it, so I thought that I would, which is why it's also in the box. If I want to watch Videodrome, I'll just watch the other edition that Arrow put out. This also contains all the early work as a special feature for the set, but obviously I've picked that up on the side as well to check out, so I don't have to open this. And it comes with a really nice hardback book, loads and loads of special features, as you can see, and I'm really pleased with this. Videodrome's an excellent film, and I'm really happy to own this version for my collection. I'm hoping that it might go up in price or value at some point as well. Really nice edition. Next up, a box set that I bought a while ago in one of their Arrow video sales on their website. This is the Female Prisoner Scorpion set, the complete collection. Comes with all four of the Prisoner Female Scorpion films, and I've seen the first two of these, and I really enjoyed the first one. I didn't really know what to expect. I knew that Meiko Kaji was in the film, and obviously I'd seen her in Lady Snowblood, which I also own the Arrow version of that Blu-ray. This box set's really nice. It comes with an excellent poster of the film, a hardbound book with writing on all four of the films, and really enjoyed the first one, and the second one actually surprised me quite a lot. It kind of takes what was there in the first one, elevates it into almost B-movie-esque art film. You can tell the director's taking the series, or at least in that film, the ideas from the first one and kind of elevating them in a different kind of scenario and setting. It's a really interesting film to watch after seeing the first one. I'd highly recommend checking out the films. I think that Arrow are also re-releasing this set, but without the booklet and the poster, in a standard edition of it, so I'd recommend checking that out when that comes out at some point if you're into Japanese cinema. Really nice collection, and I'm looking forward to watching films 3 and 4 from this set at some point as well. Next up, another brilliant release that they've done of their classic horror films. You know, they released The Thing and Carrie, and this is Candyman. I'd not seen Candyman before picking up this release, and I'm very glad that I hadn't done that, because the transfer and edition that is on offer here is absolutely brilliant. Comes with a poster, art cards, the booklet within the case comes with like storyboards about how some of the scenes in the films were made, which I find very interesting. It comes with the standard release of the film and the extended cut, which is more graphic. So obviously I watched the more graphic cut because I'd assume that's the one that you're meant to watch, and I really enjoyed the film. For me, it was interesting that a character like Candyman, who you know what he looks like because he's just Tony Todd, but the amount of menace and tension that the film kind of gradually orchestrates around his character is really unsettling, and I think it's an excellent way that the film's been made. The scenes where it's tense and he shows up are brilliant, and I really enjoyed my watch of this film, and I can't recommend checking out this release from Arrow enough. Another one of their classic horror film releases, and it's really enjoyable and just a really good release. Next up is another box set. We have the Ring collection. These are the Japanese films Ring, Ring 2 and Ring 0. It also comes with another film related to the Ring series called Spiral. I've not seen Spiral, but I have seen this version. I have seen this Japanese version of The Ring now. I have to say that I think I prefer the American version. It's slightly more scary, a little more tense, although there are problems with that film as well. Really enjoyed rewatching this on the Japanese release. Arrow have done a really good job with the box set here, and I look forward to checking out Ring 2, Ring 0 at some point. I don't know if I'll visit Spiral because it's got really bad reviews, but if I find some time to check it out and I'm in the mood to watch it, then I'm sure I will at some point. If you like these films or you like J-horror, probably check it out. Next up is a really nice box set they've recently released, and that is Macabre Visions, Films of Mario Bava. This comes with Black Sunday, The Girl Who Knew Too Much, Black Sabbath, Kill Baby Kill, Five Dolls for an August Moon, A Bay of Blood, Baron Blood, Lisa and the Devil, and Rabid Dogs. There are a lot of films in this set, and it contains pretty much all the releases that they've done of Mario Bava's work. I know that there is one that they have released which is not in this set, which is a bit annoying because it would have been nice just to have the whole thing together. This release is absolutely gorgeous. I might do an unboxing video of this because of how they presented it. One thing that I'm not a massive fan of is the actual base artwork on the set. I don't find that a particularly moving image. You know, a lot of their other editions has some really nice artwork, like the Candyman one or the Videodrome one. This is fairly standard, and whilst it's quite interesting and the inside of it is gorgeous, I'm not a massive fan of that. It's kind of like a digipack book with all of the films within it, and it's a great release for some Mario Bava titles. The only Bava film that I'd seen before was Bay of Blood, and I picked up the Arrow release of that years ago. I quite enjoyed that. It's kind of a fun slasher film, but with this one I've watched Black Sunday already and thought that was absolutely tremendous. Really, really interesting kind of horror film, gothic and kind of steeped in shadow and kind of mood. And I also watched Black Sabbath, and I thought that was a really good film as well, so I'm looking forward to checking out the rest of this box set. But from what I've already seen, I really enjoy it, and if you can't get your hands on it, I think it's sold out, but if you can, it's a great release. And now finally, the last Arrow video thing that I've bought over the past year and a bit is their very recent release of Old Boy. This comes with the entire Vengeance trilogy, and this release is absolutely brilliant. There was a bit of confusion when they announced that the Vengeance trilogy was going to be released in December as well. They're doing a standalone release but without the booklet and the poster, and the packaging is completely different. I actually prefer the design of the packaging that's coming out in December, because having seen all three films in this, I don't feel that the lift environment is particularly important or pivotal to the plot of any of the films. I know that there are scenes that happen within the elevator or lift, or however you want to say it, but it's not the thing that I would dwell on when designing artwork around it. I might do an unboxing video of this because this set is actually really nice. It opens up and there's artwork within it that kind of demonstrates why the lift environment is what they've done for the box set. This set is amazing. It comes with an incredible amount of special features, commentaries on all of the films. I've rewatched Old Boy again. I've rewatched Old Boy with the director's commentary and with the director's commentary and cinematography, which I thought was fascinating. Rewatching Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance was an excellent experience. I didn't like that the first time I watched it, but I watched it on the old Tartan DVD release, and being able to see this in full 1080p in a new kind of refurbished edition is absolutely brilliant, and all three films look excellent. I cannot recommend checking out this release if you can. I know it's sold out, but if you can get your hands on it, it's great. If not, the release in December will have all of the same special features, but will just not have the hardbound book and the poster, if I'm correct in that. I think I am. I will be making a film essay about Old Boy on my channel in the upcoming weeks, and I'm looking forward to releasing that. That has been my entire Arrow video collection update over the past year and a bit. The next one that I'll make will probably be an Arrow Academy video, because I prefer the Academy range to the video range, but I don't always buy more of the Academy range. It's weird. I'm a bit more selective about what I buy. The films that you pick up with Arrow Video are kind of the ones that you can put on, have a beer, chill out, and just kind of enjoy a kind of fun film. The Arrow Academy ones are slightly more highbrow, maybe. I have to be in the mood to check out the stuff on the Arrow Academy line. Thank you for watching, guys. If anyone has seen the films that I've mentioned on this update and wants to comment below, please do so. I'll respond with it, and I do need to check out the rest of the films that I've bought here that I haven't seen yet. If you have any recommendations for the releases that Arrow have got coming up, or any of the ones that they've done in the past that you think I might like, put them down below as well, and I will check them out. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.